Hello my dear friends, I'm Azada, and today I'll teach you everything from making a soft, fluffy pizza dough to the final step when our golden, cheesy pizza comes out of the oven. Stay with me step by step to learn how to make an amazing, restaurant-style pizza at home. The water must be cold or cool. Warm or hot water can deactivate the yeast. Sift a small amount of the twice-sifted flour one more time and add it to the yeast and sugar mixture. Sift in more flour and add it to the yeast mixture, stirring gently until the mixture becomes slightly thicker. Now mix 1/3 of a cup of water with 1 teaspoon of salt and stir well until the salt is completely dissolved. Add it to the dough mixture and mix everything carefully until you get a smooth, thin batter. Now add some more sifted flour and stir the mixture. Once the dough thickens a bit, add the final portion of flour and mix thoroughly. This is when you set the spatula aside and start kneading the dough by hand. At this stage, speed is very important. Try to knead the dough quickly so the heat from your hands doesn't warm it up. A warm dough can reduce the final texture quality of the pizza. If the dough is still a bit soft and sticky, you can gradually add a little more flour until it reaches a smooth and cohesive texture. Now that the oil is fully absorbed into the dough, it's time to transfer it to the work surface for the main kneading. Push the dough forward with the heel of your hand, then pull it back toward you with your fingertips. This steady, rhythmic motion helps the gluten structure develop, giving the pizza dough ideal volume and texture when baked. If kneading is difficult for you, you can also slam the dough onto the work surface several times with energy. In the end, your dough will be fully cohesive, soft and smooth, and it won't stick to your hands anymore. Now lightly oil the bottom of a large bowl. place the dough inside and turn it once so the entire surface is coated with a thin layer of oil. This prevents the dough from drying out. Finally, cover the bowl with a clean, slightly damp cloth and let the dough rest at room temperature for about 2 hours. After about 2 hours, here's the result. The dough has risen nicely and nearly doubled in size. To check if it's ready, press a small indentation in the center with your fingertip. If it doesn't spring back, the dough has rested enough. If the place where you leave the dough is very warm, especially near a heat source, it may ferment too quickly and even turn sour. So on hot summer days, it's better to let the dough rest in the refrigerator. Knead the dough very briefly and lightly, just for a minute or two to release any excess air. Then place the dough on your work surface and cover it with a clean, damp cloth, letting it rest for about 30 more minutes. After this second half hour, the dough will be soft and flexible like butter. Now it's time to prepare your baking tray. Lightly grease the bottom and sides so the dough releases easily and the edges of your pizza get a delicious, crispy layer. Gently place the dough on the tray and use your fingertips to spread it evenly from the center outwards. Now that the dough is spread on the tray, press the edges slightly toward the sides of the pan with your fingertips to create a nice crust for the pizza. Then, use a fork to make a few small holes on the surface of the dough. Now place the pizzas in the middle rack of a preheated oven at 220 degrees Celsius for about 15 minutes. If your oven has top heat, turn it off for now so the dough can cook through and become crisp with low heat. If it doesn't have a fan, keep the low heat on for the first 15 minutes and turn on the top heat for the last 10 minutes to get the cheese nicely golden. If your oven has a fan, just let the pizza bake until the top is golden and crispy.